ITV1.
Watch all your favourites TV's best soap moments ever on Tuesday from 8:30. But now it's time for today's world news.
Boost for Duncan Smith as Tory race row rumbles on. Hundreds of thousands flock to the beach as temperatures soar. And tempers flare as Arsenal put 4 past Leicester.
From ITN, the ITV Weekend News with Mark Austin.
Good evening. Ian Duncan Smith's received a boost tonight in the increasingly bitter battle for the Tory leadership. A poll of party members has put him comfortably ahead of his rival Kenneth Clarke. But Mr Duncan Smith continues to be dogged by allegations of extremism. The former Shadow Home Secretary, Anne Widdecombe, has called his supporters headbangers. John Ray reports.
A rare moment of good humour in an ill-tempered election. Ian Duncan Smith wooing young Tories. And a Sunday newspaper poll suggests the race row that's poisoned this contest hasn't damaged his chances. 3 out of 4 activists back him. Today his message was unite.
I say to all my friends who have to come together after this leadership election, let's think about uniting together again and rise above what Labour and Millbank really want, which is stories running about the Conservative Party.
Yeah. Mr Duncan Smith was quick to sack BNP sympathiser Edgar Griffin, but a senior Kent Clarke supporter says he needs to go much further.
He needs to be distancing himself from that sort of attitude which characterises the far right of the Conservative Party. I know that he's a decent guy, but he appears to be attracting some headbangers.
Nor does Mr Clarke, cheered by support from Conservative students, show signs of letting the controversy die away. Still angry at accusations, he's used it to smear his rival.
Without trying to excite it, they're only completely lost their cool in the other camp. Their guy was outed by the Daily Mirror, which is not within my control.
Ian Duncan Smith's team are convinced his appeal to gut Tory instincts is winning the day. But few are those who believe this divisive contest has done anything but damage to the party. John Ray, ITN, Conservative Central Office. Israel's vowed to retaliate after 3 of its soldiers were shot dead by Palestinian gunmen. The raid happened at an Israeli army base in Gaza. 2 Palestinians also died. It's one of the most violent incidents of the latest conflict. Here's our Middle East correspondent, John Irvine.
He's among the survivors, but 3 of this Israeli soldier's colleagues died in the bold overnight raid on a garrison in the southern Gaza Strip. Of the 7 injured, 1 is critical. These are the attackers, filmed beforehand with the weapons they used. One of the Palestinians was killed during a firefight in the base. The other fled, but was shot dead by Israeli soldiers in pursuit. This is his identity card, put on show by the Israelis, along with guns and ammunition they recovered. An investigation has begun into how 2 lightly armed assailants managed to infiltrate a heavily fortified compound. Hundreds of soldiers are stationed in Gaza to protect a few thousand Jewish settlers living on occupied land amidst more than 1 million Palestinians. Israel says it holds Yasser Arafat's Palestinian Authority responsible for the deaths of the 3 soldiers, and Palestinian security posts on the Gaza Strip were evacuated today in anticipation of Israeli retribution. John Irvine, ITN, Jerusalem. There are fears tonight of another wave of foot and mouth disease after a second new case was confirmed in Northumberland. Animals at both affected sites are now being culled. It comes just as farmers in the area were beginning to restock. Romilly Weeks reports.
Northumberland had been foot and mouth free for 3 months, but the disease is back. The latest case was discovered at this farm in Catton, the second in the area in just 2 days. The warning signs have gone back up and the slaughterers' vans moved in. All the animals on this farm and surrounding farms will have to be culled, and officials have declared the area a blue box zone, meaning the most draconian anti-infection measures are now in force.
We will be increasing our surveillance patrols, hopefully with the support of the police and the trading standards, We will be improving and really putting into force very strict cleansing and disinfection procedures, and vehicles that are going to farms will have to be cleansed and disinfected before they enter and leave the box.
The first indications of the return of foot and mouth in the area were spotted at Taylor Burn Farm, 5 miles away. This part of Northumberland contains dozens of farms. Farmers here had started to look to the future. Some had even begun to restock. Now they're anxiously waiting to find out whether these new cases are the last gasps of a disease in retreat or the start of a renewed burst of infection. Romilly Weeks, ITN.
There's confusion tonight over NATO's mission to collect weapons from ethnic Albanian rebels in Macedonia. NATO says its troops will aim to collect around 3,000 weapons in the operation, which begins on Monday. But some Macedonian officials say the rebels may hold as many as 85,000 arms. Much of Britain's been basking today in what's turning out to be the hottest bank holiday weekend for 25 years. Huge traffic jams didn't deter hundreds of thousands from heading to the coast. Some beaches were so full they had to turn people away. Adrian Britton reports from Bournemouth.
A sunny bank holiday weekend may be considered a rare British phenomenon, but in Bournemouth the beaches have been packed with people taking advantage of the heat. Hoteliers say they've been deluged by last-minute bookings.
This weekend it's really exceeded our expectations. We thought it was going to be busy, but it's been an exceptional weekend. The hotels are virtually full. Just about every bed in town is full, but we'll find the odd one or two here and there.
Where sun has been found, everyone has been pushing enjoyment to its limits. An extra 30,000 people have poured into the Dorset resort this weekend, but in Blackpool, like some other northern resorts, the overcast weather has kept tourists away. Airports say it's been one of the busiest weekends of the year. 1.4 million people are flying out to guaranteed sunshine. Those in search of good weather here have had to endure long delays on the roads. There were long tailbacks today on the M5 heading towards Devon and Cornwall. The sun is making us spend more. Cash machine operators Link say withdrawals this weekend are expected to hit £600 million, almost a record. And those who found the Bournemouth beaches too hot today have escaped to higher levels to cool down.
The tourists are smiling, and so are the traders and hoteliers. This hot bank holiday weekend is expected to bring £15 million into this town. Adrian Britton, ITN, 500 feet above Bournemouth.
Football and Everton are the surprise Premiership leaders tonight after their 2-0 win over Middlesbrough. Leeds move into second place after a goalless draw at West Ham. Arsenal are third following a bad-tempered victory over bottom club Leicester. Felicity Barr rounds up the action.
It was a fiery encounter at Highbury. Arsenal demonstrated some clever moves. Freddie Ljungberg giving them the early lead. Sylvain Wiltord doubled their advantage, scoring on his 50th appearance in an Arsenal shirt. A row erupted in the second half when Robert Perez was fouled. Leicester's Dennis Wise had a head-to-head argument with Patrick Vieira. Both were sent off. Arsenal had already missed several chances, but substitutes Thierry Henry and Ben Kanu both found the net. Leicester's 13th away defeat in a row. Manager Peter Taylor must be feeling the pressure. Final score Arsenal 4, Leicester 0. Last season Everton escaped relegation by just 6 points. Tonight they're top of the Premiership. Captain Kevin Campbell led by example. A powerful header giving his side the lead. Middlesbrough boss Steve McLaren must be wishing he'd never left Manchester United. His side are one off the bottom of the table and yet to